Fiema Monkey Sanctuary is rich in history. Sandwiched between two communities, Buabena and Fiema.
Hello, welcome to Inside Out TV, where we tell African stories the African way. In this episode, we're focusing on the history and social activities around the Monkey Sanctuary at Buabena, Fiema in the North region of Ghana.
The sanctuary is home to two monkey species, the Mona and Columbus. Regarded as sacred, the monkeys have cohabitated with inhabitants of the two communities for over 5 decades.
For several years, since sometimes you see somewhere 1827, other areas 1831, as when the monkeys were found here. Since that time, the people have been doing their own traditional conservation. Then the elders, the chiefs, and the traditional priests, and some opinion leaders decided to get in touch with the government to help conserve the animals.
Due to immense traditions and customs, conservation in the monkey forest has helped maintain a longer lifespan for these animals. Here, the culture of the people has been fashioned to include the acceptance of the monkeys as part of the society.
So the monkey sanctuary started with the discovery of Mona and Columbus monkey species in the forest around the communities at Buabena and Fiema.
I was born at Fiema, 2nd December 1955, and then started school in 1961, and then finished 71, Form 4. So I'm a relative to Fiema. And then the monkeys, our ancestors, came and met them in this area in 1827. Yeah. So one family moved to this area, and then those families who came here, there is one man among them. That man is a hunter. So when they settled here in 1827, then the hunter decides going to bush to fetch water. There he found a fetish, and then the same time, guarded by black and white too, Mona also too, with the fetish on the river. So when the monkeys saw the hunter, the monkeys ran away and left the fetish. Then the hunter made bold, took the fetish back home. The next morning, when they wake up, they found that the 4 monkeys are in the village. So they consult an oracle. Then the oracle told them that the fetish that the hunter brought home is the children of that monkeys. So if they like the monkeys, they should stay with the fetish. Or if they don't like the monkeys, then they should send the fetish back. And then the monkeys also go back. They also like the fetish and then the monkeys, because they came and made them here. While there's no building at this area. It's bushy like this area. So they don't know where from the monkeys and then the fetish, so they like them. Okay. Then the fetish told them that anybody who would do harm to these monkeys or kill anyone, that fellow also will get the same punishment to die. They agreed. He told them again that any monkey who should die, they should bury that monkey as a human being buried. If not, so they will get punishment. They agreed. So from that time going, if any monkey dies, our ancestor professors have a coffee, put the monkey inside, cover the white cloth, and then the fetish priest will pour a basin before burying.
So as we speak, we have their cemetery. When they die, we bury them.
Perceived as sacred, they're duly given befitting ceremonies after death. Thus, a grave within the forest is a huge tourist attraction.
Regarded as sacred, the monkeys have cohabitated with inhabitants of the two communities for over 5 decades. And these unique attributes attract thousands of tourists in this community annually.
Chiefs and elders of the two communities agreed way back in 1975 to introduce regulations prohibiting residents in the two communities from harming these beautiful creatures. And for conservation purposes, that seemed to be paying some dividends. They revere the animals with the belief that the monkeys are the children of the gods of the two communities.
It is not everywhere that you can see this thing, I hope you understand. And the people get opportunity to, interact with monkeys. As I said, we don't feed them, but yes, though, it is okay that they come to the village, they take food from them.
When I was born, the monkeys were around. And then as I was young, I was always playing with the monkeys. Even you can go nearby, but they won't hurt us. So they come and collect food. But then there wasn't plenty as now they have matured.
I said, you muti me befi papa. New dem kura sepan on the batu dema oba befa kusia we bana kokono to na afise kusia ni na.
Traditions and customs. Conservation in the monkey sanctuary has helped maintain a longer lifespan for these animals.
The Mona monkeys are very friendly because they feed on food, human food. So they come to the village in the morning and in the evening. They come to take food from the people. Actually, people don't feed them, but when they come, they just steal from them. and then they come back in the evening, maybe 3:30 to 4. They come to the village and then take food from them because they know the time the people cook. But as for the colobus monkeys, because they don't feed on human food, they don't come to the village very often. You know, they come to the village when they see that most of the people are not in the community.
With the extinction of the monkeys, especially the colobus, in habitats around the world, UNESCO declared this sanctuary a World Heritage Site.
The sanctuary area is just about 4.4 square kilometers. A larger part of it is savanna. The core forest area where we are now is estimated to be about 1.9 square kilometers.
I think that you know, when they come, it's like they feel they become happy because you know, it is very difficult. Many people say that we only see monkeys in the zoo in Europe and all that. So when they come to the place, they feel happy when they see the monkeys living in their natural habitats.
Over the last 2 decades, the Monkey Sanctuary has always been the subject for many research activities of postgraduate students from the United States, Canada, and Europe.
It's the Guineans, and they do like to eat some human foods like yams or maize or mangoes. So that draws them closer to the village. But the colobus monkeys, they eat mostly leaves, so they stay deeper in the forest. It's very easy to find both the Mona and the colobus monkeys since there are plenty of them here in the forest. And if the tourists come here and they are quietly not disturbing the monkeys, you can see how they interact with each other. They're playing, or they are mating, they're grooming each other, they're nursing their babies. So you can see behaviors that you might not necessarily see in a zoo where there are captive monkeys in smaller groups, so they might not show their full range of behaviors. And here, for example, if 2 different monkey groups come together, they're often being aggressive towards each other. So you can see many other types of behaviors when you watch them in the wild compared to in a zoo. So I studied the black and white colobus monkeys. So I was here for about 1.5 years, and I studied 8 different groups, and I look at their social relationships between females. So their grooming relationships, when they're being aggressive, and their proximity patterns. And I'm looking to see if they bias social behaviors towards their kin. So if they prefer to interact friendly.
Point sample. Okay, you got to confirm that. So we record when they're moving, when they're resting, when they're feeding, so we know what their behavior is. So we can, so that when I go home back to Canada, I have to write a report on what we saw here. I go to the University of Toronto, and I'm a primatology student. So this field course is through the University of Calgary. So we're here for a total of a month studying the Mona monkeys.
These monkeys depend on trees for food. And looking at the 1.9 square kilometer area, it's not even a large area. And it's not only food trees that are in the area. There are other tree species which are not food for the animals. So you realize that there is limited food supply. As the numbers are increasing, the food is decreasing, the food supply is decreasing. So these monkeys were compelled to move out, look for other small areas of where there are trees where they can get food. Sometimes they are compelled to move away because of their social behaviors. They need mating and all that kind of thing. They have these things fighting among themselves, like adult males in a group. They'll be competing for the females. So sometimes there's serious fighting and some are beaten and they go away. Sometimes the dominant male wants to control all the females, but the female, or not all the females, will want to have him as their mating partner. So they also have interest in the younger ones or other males in the group. So what happens is that you find a male and female, they will decide to break away, go and settle and find their own territory.
Well, I just love watching them. I think they're so fun to watch and they're quite comical. They do silly things sometimes. I do, yeah. Well, that's what I study at school, so I know a lot about them. And I'd like to do this for a career when I'm older.
Point sample? Oh, okay.
While conducting such research activities at the forest, they are hosted by the Wildlife Division of the Ghana Forestry Commission.
We have to know that these monkeys are territorial. We have several groups here, but each group has its territory. One group of Mona monkey cannot come into the area of another Mona monkey. Or a group of colobus cannot leave their territory and come into the territory of another group of this thing. But you can have one group of Mona monkeys and a group of colobus living in one area because their food demands are not the same.
It brings a lot of money to the people here, especially the guides and the restaurants. But yeah, they disturb the monkeys a little bit, but by making trails and feeding them and introducing diseases. But I think it does a lot of good too. And it educates people on the animals so that they want to conserve them and protect them and help save the forest.
Yes, of course, I say, yeah, what more be what be here, our whole team free baby, a baby. Yeah, but two on yeah, none be and could be that. This yes, you can say you could be say in ye. And I say a Buabena, or say, Mono Tiffy, no, who could be no, or no, a condo.
Whilst we are living with them, they don't think that monkeys can live happily with human beings. That's why the visitors come to see either it's true or it's not true. We explain to them that our ancestors came and met these monkeys and then the shrine at this area. And then anybody who attempt to kill this monkey, that fellow will not be alive. He will die. So they believe that these monkeys, they are like a human being or they are like a spirit.
I'm going to keep going.
Development must come here because let's talk for instance of our road network. You bear me witness that you came down with our road and our road network is not very fine. The road is very bad. People come here and they complain that you want to bring more people, but our road network is not very fine. So they don't come. So I think that as a tourist attraction center, when something important like the internet cafe, something like the post office, the police station, like what we can think of, is here. I mean, people get easy access to all those things, and then they stay here.
In these communities, the monkeys are protected and treated as sacred. So they have become used to being fed and looked after by residents who are also more than happy to interact with them.
The thing we need the tourists to come, that monkeys living with human beings, they come to our houses to take food from our mother's kitchen, and then if they see that, they are very interesting, so that they tell the others to come and see, to watch.
And because of that, the other community, we have 7 communities where somehow around the villages, they decided to leave very small pockets of forest for whatever reason. Sometimes sacred groves, sometimes just a grove around the village that to protect the community against windstorm. So some of these monkeys have moved in there. So now we have 7 other communities outside Buabena, Fiema, where these fine Mona monkeys and colobus also stay in there.
For the many tourists, conservationists, and researchers visiting the sanctuary, maintaining its beauty, serenity, and wildlife is crucial to its sustenance.
So that's the monkey story at the sanctuary at Buabena, Fiema. From the Inside Out team, we say thank you for watching this episode. We will see you again next time with another African story told the African way.
I